Greetings and thank you for visiting my web channel, my YouTube channel. And it's been a while since I've been on. Life has been really busy last 7, 8 months or so. Uh, to simply put it, I pretty much had to go through the valley of shadow of darkness and come out to be able to continue with my ministry, with this ministry. And so I hope you're doing well. And what I decided to do was put together this letter, if you want to call it. It's a video letter. And I'm going to go through it and then add in my comments as it seems fit. And it's a letter to call people to come out of Babylon, okay? And you may not fully understand what Babylon is. Basically, today, in our context, it's fiction. So if you've ever watched any of the Matrix movies, that is Babylon, okay? It's the church and the state, and they provide a false relationship through religion and false governance through voluntary contract. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read through the letter. My true, real, and steadfast brothers and sisters in Christ, as many of you know, over the past 6 months, Yah had me working on changing my name from a two-part secular, fictional, unbiblical Roman legal format to a lawful single name format, as was used by men and women from the beginning of time to the Roman Kingdom, Republic, Empire, which began about 753 BC. I put down Kingdom, Republic, Empire because that's the stages that a particular form of governance went through, man-made governance went through, okay? Uh, and the empire began, I think, somewhere about 39 or 29 BC. So about 700 years after it started, it eventually ended up in a form of tyranny. Okay, that really, anytime man tries to do something good without his maker, that is the conclusion every single time. And here we are again, 2,000 years after Christ, and the same thing has happened and is happening. It's the end of the age. This is the last time the adversary, Hasatan, and all the fallen angels and demons and familiar spirits are making one last attempt at trying to beguile people into giving up on the Creator, Yahweh, Elohiym, which actually I've just recently learned would be maybe better pronounced as Elohiym. And that's another topic. So Rome is still in control. Okay, it's just put on different clothes and taken on more of the role of a priest or piety, man-made piety, holiness, instead of the Roman emperor format and clothes and wreath. So, to continue, the two-part format disappeared as Christianity spread over Europe and was reinstated by the King of England in the 1300s. So somewhere in 3, 4, 500, AD, the surname disappeared and people realized they were supposed to be only using a single name. And then in the 1300s, I think it was about 1330 or so, that the King of England reinstituted that so that he could collect taxes. All right, because these guys who run these organizations have known since the beginning of time, since the real first Babylon, that the only way you can rule men is through what we call today fiction. So a single name does not have the surname, aka last name or family name, which is in truth a slave name. Unless you're in a public office within a man-made provincial federal democratic government, then you are the master. Okay? And trust me, I have recently encountered one of them, and they do act as tyrants. And within their jurisdiction, so to speak, they are lord over what they administer to. Um, so this week, that activity was closed because of the two items needed to complete the process were declared unobtainable for me. That is, not necessarily for anyone else, but for me. And I do have to thank Yah for that because He has something better for me. Um, and so, and just a quick note here for you fellow geeks out there, and that material is called unobtainable or unobtainium, found only here and there, wherever one may look. It doesn't last for long, but it's pretty hard to get your hands on it. uh, Most of you probably have heard about that particular element, the unobtainium. So, first item that was needed for me to complete the process. So I'm out, okay? I'm out of the system, but to access the estate, okay, because the word state comes from the word estate and estat, French word estat. You look that up. It's in one of my videos. Um, is that I need a replacement birth certificate, but not a certificate of birth. They're two different things. Uh, as I no longer have one. Okay, I won't get into that, but so to get a replacement, I was instructed by the Ombudsman of Ontario to contact a local MPP's office. MPP stands for Member of Provincial Parliament. Um, when I did, the MPP's response was to send two policy enforcers to my home under the false pretense that I might be mentally unstable to trick me into using the surname. Then this was used um, basically against me to cut off any communications and hence not helping me get that document. In my opinion, it was an act of defraud, which Christ commands not to do in Leviticus 19, Mark 10, and Sirach 7:21, which says, "Let thy soul have a good servant, and defraud him not of liberty." Okay, and that's what this ministry is all about. It's about liberty. Um, so, a complaint was filed with the Ombudsman September 15th, and I received a response yesterday. That would be December 11th, about 3 months after I filed it. Um, and the response yesterday was that the MPPs are not under their jurisdiction, which is why this chapter of my life is now closed. But the goal is not, and Abba Yah says that he is something better for me in the works. Okay, so stay tuned and stay in faith. The second item needed was a church board officer verification that biblical Christianity, okay, that was the words I used, and the MPP's office, their clerk, okay, not an officer, but just a clerk, she said was a really good terminology to use. So biblical Christianity, a traditional culture of the people of the Bible, or Yah's people. We have a single naming practice, even if it's not currently in use. An Ontario government form would be completed by that officer if they agreed. This too was unattainable because one of the 5 board members, I think, of the fellowship I attended did not agree, along with the interim secular pastor who clearly did not comprehend the surname's sinful nature, especially when yoked to the real Christian name, which is the two-part naming format. 10 other churches and 2 Bible colleges were also approached and with the same reply. Single name? What is that? Hello, haven't you ever read the Bible? Adam, Eve, Moses, Isaiah, Jonah, Samuel, David, Solomon, oh, and Jesus? What do you mean, what is that? It's unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe that these people are so incredibly asleep that they don't know, they have no idea what the scriptures say to us. It isn't what we think it says, it's what it says to us with um, the Ruach HaKodesh inspiring those words in us, okay? And studying the original language, Hebrew. So much is lost in the translations. It's a crime. It really, really is. So, um, the man-made religious denominational church system is clearly Lord of its members, not Yah. It's probably the only reason why I got out back in 2000 and, or, I'm sorry, yeah, 2010, when I left the Church of the Nazarene Fellowship and Seminary. Okay, it's a fraudulent system. It really is. Doesn't mean your faith is fraud, but the system is man-made, and that makes it artificial and dead. Okay, and that's why we're at where we are today, because the body of believers really have been duped, really totally been duped in how they should live out faith in Christ. So over the past 3 or so years, I have met a number of men and women, both inside and outside the denominationity, like Christianity, uh, that also want out in freedom. They desire to live out Revelation 18:4, which is totally possible in the province of Ontario. It's all set up. It's all in the legal system. It's just a matter that my situation, I don't have a birth certificate, okay, and I couldn't get a church officer to sign the paperwork. So how can this be done, you ask? By starting our own new ministry and corresponding fictional CRA incorporated church, quote unquote, with the purpose of instructing, vetting, and exodusing those who hear the same call. My friends, it is time to stop being the church and be the free society or Commonwealth of Yashar'el. Ephesians 2:12. The ekklesia, the government of self-governors, which is Isaiah 9:6-7, and preach the gospel of salvation and freedom and forgiveness and healing and deliverance. No debt, no charges, as Romans 8:33 states, for Yah's elect. If this writing plucks a chord in your heart, uh, a heart that desires true freedom and liberty from an ever-increasing oppressive force that really has no biblical right to rule Yah's people, contact me. My email's down before. I'll leave a link in the description below, along with a link to this letter, which you'll be able to download if you would like to. Um, so meetings could take place over the internet using a platform like Skype or Zoom, and we will be a called out assembly. That's what ekklesia means. It's called out. We're called out of the world of men. We're called out of the church. We're called out of secular man-made governments. The matrix, fiction, that's Babylon. We're called out of that. We are not a church. We are not the church. The church is a fictional construct made by men to rule them, to lord over them. And the sole purpose of helping others to restore, recover, and reinstate Yah's children's true Christian name as a single name, not the fictitious Roman name and used by maritime law democratic societies, as they only have jurisdiction over persons with a surname, and they know it. They know it. They study the law. They study the Bible. Okay, and if you took the time and studied the law books, and you begin to see the parallelism between uh, what's written there, what's written in scriptures and inspired, and in the acts of these governing corporations, you'll see it too. It becomes very, very clear. And that's what my course is all about. It may not be the greatest material. The stuff I put up may not be that great, okay? I'm not here to woo you or do fancy presentations. I'm here to get the material to you, all right, and to help. That's it, okay? I can't teach you. I am not your rabbi. I am not your pastor. I sit in an office of the Messiah's or Christ's government. That's all right? And I cause that office to operate here, all right? And that office is to be a sent one, or what some people say, an apostle. Um, if you don't um, know anything about my testimony, go look at my testimony. I have to do another one now and kind of bring it up to date. Um, but I'm a first-hand eyewitness, former atheist turned apostle. It wasn't my choice. He picked me. Okay? So I'm just here really being a messenger. All right. Time is not only short, but almost out. This age that we live in, or epic, you could call it, is really, it's time is up. Okay? And we were created and placed here for a time like this, and it is up to each of us individually and in congregation. Ekklesia can be translated as a congregation. If you look up the etymology of that word, it has to do with natural flocking and herds and stuff like that. So that's when we look at words, we want to look at a natural etymology, not an artificial one like church is artificial. The word church goes back to one of the Greek gods. God, it's actually nasty creature, probably a Nephilim or a Nephilim. Um, so be the people of Yah in Ruach, testimony, and obedience to the commandments, and overcome them in Christ's name. Them are the powers and all those evil forces that are behind what's going on in the world. We can't see it, but we are called to overcome it. Let us prayerfully join and yoke together to work with our Elohiym in fulfilling this most vital movement. Shalom, favor, and equity. Scott Stephen. That's my real Christian name. There's no surname. And notice I printed. I didn't use cursive. I don't curse that name anymore because it's me, but it's also the property of Christ. All right, it belongs to him because I belong to him. And I am that name, and that name is me. We're interchangeable. All right. And so, by the way, that's an autograph, not a signature, and we can get into that some other time. So, this is a call to people I know, people I don't know yet, to come out. It's a call to come out of the church and the state. That's the beast system. That's the harlot and the beast system. Okay? Let's get together and fellowship. And I put a motto at the beginning of my letter here. It's not in concrete or anything like that. It was just to kind of illustrate what this is really all about. This is the kingdom. This is the rule and reign of Yah, Yahweh, Yahweh, some people say, or Jehovah. We prepare self-governors under Christ, the King of Kings. We are the kings. We are the self-governors. We are sovereigns. And it isn't to rebel. It is to live a righteous life with our Maker, our Creator. So, may Yah bless you, and thank you for your time. Shalom, shalom.